here. No, yeah, you're right. You look like hell. Right.
All right. Camera ready, hell.
I think we're good. Yeah, we just barely get the top. I mean, we get the top of your head with just a little bit of space.
This is it here.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we get a little bit of this wall, but it's not.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be that way until I modify things and get those curtains in.
Till you move on from this Mickey Mouse shit that you got.
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm just like, fuck. And I was thinking about just extending it this way. I'm like, no, I don't need anything on this wall.
Yeah.
I'll just put shit elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then just kind of do a horseshoe. That way it's all that. And then one day we'll have her fucking.
Yeah. Blazed and confused behind the scenes.
That is. That is. All right. You ready?
Yeah. We should just let Ron just do this.
Just do it.
Oh man, my back is hurting today.
Shit, my back is hurting today.
You've been working in the yard though.
I'm just gonna keep most of this banter. So welcome to another week.
Hi,
Blazed and Confused here.
We didn't see you come in.
No, dude, we had those timbers around the pool, and we stained them last year. The stain didn't even last.
That's gross.
Not that kind of stain.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
You know, the legit stain on this one.
Oh.
I don't do that outside. Come on, man.
Okay.
That's charged.
No, I can tell.
That's
Starting to wonder.
Black light this fucking room.
Yeah. Boy.
But yeah, Carson and I got the saws on. I was cutting them in chunks as you saw up there. Mm-hmm. And then we moved them to one spot behind the boat. And I posted on Marketplace for free. Seeing some, because they're not rotted. They're only a year and a half old. And
yeah.
Sure enough, this guy's like, I'll come today and pick them up. And it's like, damn, so I had to huff them from there out front. But doing a lot of landscaping. So yeah, my back hurts like hell today.
Yeah.
I got a blister because I was ignorant and didn't wear gloves.
Yeah.
I'm at that age where I can't pull that off anymore.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Been there.
Yep. So
should we tell the fine folks at home about since you brought up the timbers being picked up, about how you advised me to, when I get here, to park in the driveway and park on the left-hand side. And so just out of amusement in my own head before I even left the house and came over here, I was thinking, well, you know, the left side of the driveway depends on which way you're facing, if you're facing it from the road or from the house. And so I get here and I pull in on the left-hand side, my left-hand side of the driveway. And when I get out, I see these landscape timbers there. And so I'm like, okay, that's odd, but maybe he's expecting family or something over, so he wants the other side open. Or maybe he's expecting to have to back the car out or something. So I come inside and... you know, he's like, oh, did you park on the left? And I said, yeah. I said, but you wanted me to park on the left-hand side next to the landscape timbers, right? He's like, no, the left-hand side. And I said, well, it depends on which way you're facing the driveway, from the house or from the road. And he said, no, if you're facing the house, it's on the left hand. And he looks at his right hand and realizes that he's 3 again, and he can't tell his left from his right. So I you know, I gave you a little bit of crap about it, and then I moved my car to the right-hand side.
Oh, Jesus.
I can laugh and pick on you because that's totally something I would do.
The bad part is I was so confident on that left side.
Yeah. He was about to school me on it. He was about to tell me left from right.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
and you know, that reminds me. When I was a kid, my dad was working on something. I forget what, and he said, "Go down to the garage and go to my red toolbox and get me this screwdriver out of my red toolbox. And I said, okay. And I went down there. There was no red toolbox. And I know he had one. I remember him having one as well. And I said, there's not a red toolbox down there. And he said, there's a red tool. It's in the red tool. And I went 2 or 3 times. And he goes, I'm going to show you what color red is. And there was no red toolbox. So it happens to all of us.
Jeez. Working with your dad was the worst. Holding a flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, he never... there's no way for a dad to make you feel this small.
Yeah.
By holding a freaking flashlight. Well, damn it, Mike.
Yeah.
What the hell you doing? And if you just turn to look at something, you always turn that flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. The ironic thing is when Mike comes to my house to help me with something like plumbing, I'm the one holding the flashlight. It's true. He doesn't curse at me, at least not out loud. But yeah.
Oh, damn. I was able to get my dad back. It was whenever they were selling the house, that they were moving back to California.
Yeah.
And Dad had taken off. They sold everything in the house and all that. Everything in the house is empty. But while it was for sale, I was more or less the handyman if anything went wrong. And this inspector came in and realized that when you flushed the toilet upstairs, it was leaking downstairs in the hot water heater area.
Okay.
And so I had to call my dad, and it's like, I'm gonna have to tear into the wall to get to this pipe to replace it. And of course, a dad being dad, damn it, I'll be there in 3 days. And so he drives all the way from California back out here, and we have to rip into the ceiling downstairs to get this pipe. Well, Dad couldn't get his hand up in there because it's an old house, so it's the old galvanized pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it just had this long ass crack in it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I get up on the ladder, I get up there, and he's supposed to hold the flashlight. And he's holding it up, and he'd move. I'm like, damn it, Dad! And the whole time we're working on it, I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? And of course, Dad just...
He's like looking at a blemish.
He's getting mad at me, and he's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, hold the flashlight right. It was funny, we were laughing, but borderline, he was getting pissed,
Yeah. Did he start going, I'm bored, I want to go outside?
No, but he started like, hurry up.
Yeah.
Hurry up. I'm just like, I'm doing as fast as I hold the damn light. It was a good memory with the old man.
Yeah, that is good.
We ended up getting it knocked out, and once we got it done, and we had to redo the drywall, do the mud tape and crap, and then he got in the car and just
drove back to California.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell, man? You can't stick around for a day or two. And...
I've had enough of you.
But he would do that. He hated having to go back to California, and he went back because my grandfather died, and then Grandma was sick.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't sick at that point. They went back there to help take care of her because they were in their late 80s.
Yeah.
And we just assumed that they were going to live out there. The grandma was going to live forever.
Yeah.
So when they moved out there, Dad probably every other month would just show up on my doorstep.
Yeah.
And let's go to the casino. And would stay with us for, 4 or 5 days, and then drive back. Then he'd get enough of California and come right back. And
when I lived out there, and I was young, I was in my 20s. I mean, California was cool and all, but, there was nothing like coming back home. I really missed it here.
I used to, when I was in 18, 19, lower 20s, probably through my mid-20s, I wanted to move back. Mm-hmm. And Jessica wasn't going to have it. She was born and raised here. All her family's here. She just wasn't going to have it. But I wanted to go back because I felt that there was more of an opportunity out there. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted to get in the movie business, not become an actor, but I didn't know anything. We left when I was 12 years old, and I'm remembering everything as a kid. And every time we go out there, we have a great time. We do a lot of exploring, checking stuff out. But there's nothing like coming back.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like there ain't no. For one, I couldn't. Hell, if I sold my house, took that money to get something out there, I'd be in somebody's fucking shed.
Yeah.
And the traffic, and the people. People in California. If anybody's from California watching this, I'm not trying to be an ass,
Yeah.
but we live in.
We're gonna put Mike's personal email address up at the end of this one. So
here in Arkansas,
leave a comment.
Yeah, I won't be asking for comments on this one.
Already did.
Here in Arkansas, everybody waves. They say hello. I mean, it just.
Yeah.
Out there, and I know there's parts of California where people are like that. I'm not saying it's everybody, but for the most part, it's just like they don't look at you.
Yeah.
They just walk past you, leave me alone, unless they're trying to sell something or solicit something. But here, it's a slower pace of life.
Yeah.
You know, it's a small area, but
I've heard, New York is like that. It's so fast paced and there's so many people and you're just trying to get where you want to go and you don't want to deal with people you don't know and you're surrounded by people you don't know.
Right. Yeah. See, I can't do that.
It's a different mindset.
You know, this last time we took Carson to the Walk of Fame and Grauman's Chinese Theater. I always call it Grauman's Chinese. I don't know what it is now. They've changed names, but it's always the Chinese Grauman Theater.
Yeah, I think it's Asian American Theater now.
Is it?
No.
Oh. I think it was like Sony or Dolby or I don't know. Anyways, just walking around there, just people just don't give a damn. Yeah. Like here, if you accidentally run into somebody, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, and it's no big deal. The other, they're like looking at you like they want to murder you. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I tripped.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're a resident and you're especially in an area like that, you live near there, you're probably sick of tourists pretty quickly.
That is true.
So,
that is true. There's anywhere I go, I try not to look like the tourist.
Yeah.
But the harder you try, the dumber you look. So you just you stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, the Hawaiian shirt and the manual camera that you wear around that doesn't help. That's
like off of Goonies.
Yeah. You just
Speaking of Goonies, there is another thing I want to talk about that's gonna be related to movies.
Okay.
I'm hearing rumors and I saw this interview with Corey Feldman. It hasn't, I don't think, been official. They may be making a second Goonies. Yeah, and they're trying to cast a lot of the original cast.
I've seen a buzz about that. I haven't read any articles just because 99% of the stuff you see out there is clickbait anyway.
Right.
So I usually don't waste my time on stuff like that. But I just blurbs here and there. A lot of the original cast is on board, but
there's a interview Jessica and I just watched. It has most of the cast of the Goonies, minus like Data. There was another one missing, but they were kind of mentioning it, and it may happen.
Yeah.
Another sequel that's going to happen that has been confirmed, approved. And I'm so excited about his Young Guns.
Yep, Young Guns 3.
And
they've been trying to do that for years, and it's looking more and more like it's going to happen.
So, I recently watched an interview with Emilio Estevez, and they got the governor approved to film in New Mexico. They're gathering the locations. I don't know if the script has been written yet. I watched this other guy. He has a podcast, and like he states, he's like, I don't have a copy of the script. I don't want you guys thinking like what I'm saying is 100% official. He's like, I kind of know what's going on. He's in it somehow or involved in it somehow.
Yeah.
But he verified that everything's been approved, and he's saying that he thinks it's going to be the point of view of, because he had that guy Brushy Bill Roberts.
Yeah. That
claims he's Billy the Kid. Went in front of the governor in 1949, I think, to get his pardon, and then ended up dying in the street of Hico, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, and the second Young Guns was his story.
Was his story,
his
right?
retelling of the Billy the Kid
Right.
events. Yeah.
So this Brushy Bill Rogers, like I have a book up there on him.
Yep.
After supposedly the Billy Kid and Pat Garrett incident, he lived on. He's fought in some wars, did some cattle wrestling. He's lived a interesting life, and
Yeah.
they think that's what they're gonna take it from.
Yeah.
Lou Diamond is gonna be in it again, and they said because at the end of Young Guns 2, it portrays he dies because he gets that mortal shot and he kind of collapsed, but he didn't die on screen.
Yeah.
They just made you think that he died.
Yeah. Well, the end of Young Guns 1, they all, they
That's
just about all
right.
died.
The
so
one died.
Most of them did. So,
But his Chavez is what Lou Diamond played. Chavez in real life lived to be, I think, like 80. I think he died in 1924 or something. And what I understand, I have a book on him too. I'm a nerd like that. I'm a nerd on the Billy Kid history. He was a mean son of a bitch in real life.
yeah.
And then who else? Christian Slater.
Yep. Arkansas Dave.
So, which Arkansas Dave, Dave Rudabaugh was never called Arkansas Dave. That was strictly for the movie. His name was Dave Rudabaugh,
Okay.
but the Arkansas was just
Kind of thrown
in there.
Yeah.
And in real life, he went down to what they called Old Mexico. They beheaded him, stuck his head on a pole.
Yep.
And there's pictures online. You can go look it up. It's of him.
And they summarized that at the end of Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 2.
But yeah, I heard he was supposed to be in 3. They were talking
Yeah.
about. So, and you said you didn't know if a script had been written. I guarantee you one probably has.
See, I think that there has to be a rough
Yeah.
draft out there.
I watched an interview, actually just a snippet of an interview with Emilio Estevez the other day. And it wasn't about Young Guns 3, but he said during, I think it was during one of the writer's strikes in California where, things are just on hiatus. He decided to write a sequel to Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, wow.
And he had talked about the early the filming of the original with Stephen King and a lot of issues and things, but he said in the back of his mind he had always thought about, well, what would a sequel to that look like? And I don't know why that idea grabbed him, but he said he started writing a page here and there and it just snowballed and he wrote a sequel to it. It'll probably never get off the ground because I think he said he had contacted the studio and that has the rights, and they're like, no, we're not going to do another one. Oh. So that idea got shelved. But out there when scripts are written and they're submitted and they're kind of passed around and studios read them, a lot of times they'll sit on shelves for years, and then someone will be looking for something to make, and then they'll pick something up and it'll get made that way sometimes. Right. So it could still happen. But I bet since he was writing a Maximum Overdrive sequel, he has probably worked at least on 2 or 3 different rough drafts for Young Guns 3.
I imagine, because he said that he's loved the movie.
Yeah.
And the second one was supposed to have been a flop.
Yeah.
And it's really wasn't,
it was an excellent movie.
The critics, the Washington Post, the New York Times, like they were brutal, they were mean about it, but it came out to be good. And it me and Billy the Kid, I love the history. Young Guns 1 and 2 are in my top 5, for sure. Normally I'm not big on sequels because I feel Hollywood it's either comic book movies, sequels, or remakes. Yeah. It's like they've ran out of ideas in Hollywood, but this one really has. And they're talking about it may extend to a 4 and a 5.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
That's like the Fast and Furious movies. And first few is great. They've gotten they've gotten so far away from the plot.
Yeah.
And I think if they carried on Young Guns. And they also, it's not going to be called the Young Guns. It's just going to be called Guns 3.
Okay.
From what Emilio said, they're no longer young.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be Guns
Old
3.
Guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a
The fourth one, it's going to be really dull. It's called Dead Guns. So
just gonna be going through cemeteries,
yeah,
paying respects to all the regulators.
yeah, it's more of a documentary than
Yeah.
anything else.
There's a kind of an Easter egg with John Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
He wrote that song "Dead or Alive" before Young Guns,
Mhm.
and Emilio Estevez reached out to him to use it. He's like, "Well, let me write one specifically for the movie,"
yeah,
and that's when he came up with "Blaze of Glory," which came to be a huge, hit for him. But he also played in Young Guns 2
yeah.
and made a cameo in there. And so now the question on all these interviews is like, is he going to be involved? Is he do the soundtrack? Is he going to be in it?
Oh,
And
okay.
Emilio Estevez is like,
Yeah.
can't say. We can't tell you.
Didn't Tom Cruise have a cameo as well?
Tom Cruise had a cameo. So I guess when you're an actor, in order to level up, you have to have so many different kind of scenes. And he's never done where he's been killed.
Okay.
So and I don't know how it became about. With one of the guys brought it up. It's like, well, you have a shootout scene. You can
Yeah.
get killed in it on camera, and it's Tom Cruise. It's a split second. Like you
Yeah.
blink, you miss.
Yeah.
And if you don't know
Yeah.
that it's him, you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But he got his kill scene in that movie just to help further his career.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, and then in the same scenes that they have the pit on the bottom.
Mhm.
The guy that's set on the other side, I'm not gonna do right or left.
It really depends on which mirror you're watching it through, and if you're holding up a towel, it throws in a whole lot.
Oh shit, we're back on the towel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get into alternate, parallel.
Well, that's what happened. I held the towel up to the garage.
Yeah. See,
And it threw it all.
how does
off.
the garage know?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
That's gonna go on TikTok viral here in a little bit.
Yeah.
If you like, we'll do part 2.
But the pit scene.
So the pit scene, God, the main guy that wrote the Young Guns, I can't remember his name, but he made a cameo.
Oh, okay.
In
Yeah,
there.
I don't think I knew that.
So yeah, he's on the other side of Chavez.
Yeah. I definitely hope this one gets made because I loved the first one. The second one was a big deal for me. I don't think I saw the first one in the theater. I don't recall, but I saw it several times. And then the second one, of course, I went to the theater. So a third one would be great to have. But I do hope they stop at 3.
Right. Don't drag that on.
But
unless
I don't.
they could drag if they drug it on.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, my speech is all jacked up today.
Go ahead.
If they did a fourth one, it would have to be on a different aspect, like John Chisholm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because he played a big role in that.
Yeah.
And fun fact about John Chisholm, you know where he died?
Mm-mm.
Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, really?
Yep, got sick, cancer. Not in the Crescent, like I wished.
Yeah.
But he came to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and that's where he died.
Wow. That's interesting.
So,
But I was just thinking, as far as movie franchises go, I can't think of a single Western series that went more than 3.
no.
Action
my
action
head.
films, horror films, definitely, but not. I don't know of any westerns that went more than a trilogy, and even then, most of the time they're just loosely related. They're not a continuation of stories
Right.
like that. So.
Horror movies, Jason and Freddy, good God, get that shit up. Stop already, please.
I don't know.
Or even the Halloweens. And,
Yeah,
like,
I'm a sucker for horror films. I'll watch them. I mean, and now I can look back at the original ones and see mistakes and see things that I didn't notice back then,
right.
and go, okay, yeah, that's kind of lame, but I still love them, and I'll love them more than reboots and that sort of thing. It's hard for me to like a reboot of something,
Right.
as much as the original.
I love mistakes in movies.
Yeah.
2 comes to mind to me. Remember Maverick, the movie with Mel Gibson?
Yep.
In one of the scenes where you can see the distance, you see a white pickup truck hauling ass down. And then in Terminator 2,
Mm-hmm.
when the oh god, the liquid metal dude.
Uh-huh.
He's in the helicopter
Yeah.
and he's flying it. And he's chasing them down the road, and the window's broken, and he's shooting
Uh-huh.
with two hands. You legit see a third hand steering the helicopter.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Well,
There's three hands.
That model Terminator could probably do that.
Well, I guess he could, but I don't think that was supposed to have been in there because it's
Yeah.
coming from like underneath. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, no, going back to Young Guns, I'm super excited about this one.
Yeah.
I never saw him in the theater.
Yeah.
I didn't. Growing up as a kid, I never got into TV.
Mhm.
Never got into movies. I was always outside doing stuff. So I'm late on movies, and there's so many classic movies I've
Yeah.
never seen. But by the time I discovered Young Guns, they were well
Yeah.
out of the theater. And yes, Jessica, I've watched them
Yeah.
countless times.
Now, did you see the Clint Eastwood Man with No Name trilogy? Have you seen those? Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
I've seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Okay.
And the only reason why I watched that
Uh-huh.
back then, but years and years ago, is because that's the theme of Good, Bad, and the Ugly is the opening theme when Metallica comes out on stage.
Okay.
So when I looked that up and saw it came from that movie, it's just
Okay.
like, okay, I need to watch it.
I'm curious, since you watched that one and didn't see the others, what did you think of it?
Weird.
Yeah?
It was, didn't understand it much.
Yeah.
And I've only watched it the one time.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, it was good,
yeah.
but it,
Yeah. I think it's the best of the three, but at the same time, it's also the longest and the slowest.
okay, so
Yeah.
you saying that it was very long.
Yeah.
And it didn't hold
Yeah.
much interest. I didn't know there was other ones connected to it though.
Yeah, well, they're kind of loosely connected. Like there's not a
Stay hydrated, folks.
continuation of the story really. They're separate stories. He plays the same kind of character. I mean, if you didn't know he was a different guy, you would assume he was the same character because he wears the same wardrobe and everything through the films. But near the end of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he picks up this serape, the classic shawl type thing that you see him wearing. He finds it on a battlefield, if I remember correctly, and puts it on. But he's wearing it in the other movies. So, if they are related, they're not in order,
Okay.
But, they were all filmed by Sergio Leone, and they were all filmed in Italy. And so, to save money, I'm sure they use a lot of the same actors
Right.
in them, but they play different characters. So it's kind of neat to notice things like that, but they're not really connected. I think the only time a name was given for that character was in For a Few Dollars More, and someone says his name is Mango. And in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he's just called Blondie, which is kind of a nickname.
Okay.
And
Mango.
and I don't know that he's even called anything in A Fistful of Dollars, but yeah, that's a good one if you want to
I'll
watch
have to
anything.
check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, those three are great.
Love Clint Eastwood. I loved Gran Torino.
Yeah,
That was such a good movie. And racist as hell
yeah.
on some of the things, but the message at the end of it was
Well, that's the character.
Yeah,
and the
just
story.
such an awesome. I had not had them. We have family night days.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then the kids come over and we watch that. They've never seen it. And
Yeah,
Tobin's like, look, your generation, this may be offensive.
maybe.
But keep watching because it ends the way it should have
Yeah.
ended. But no, Clint Eastwood is
Yeah, Fistful of Dollars, and this is pretty well known now. But when I learned about it, it was it was kind of surprising. But that film is actually a remake of an old black and white samurai film.
Oh wow! Of course, it's a remake.
Yeah.
Everything's a damn remake.
Yeah, but if you watch the original samurai film, I believe it's Yojimbo. It is beat for beat the same story, the exact same story and script.
Wow.
Which samurai movies really lend themselves to being translated as westerns.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of the same mindset in a lot of ways. So.
On remakes, Adam Sandler's movie, The Longest Yard.
Mm-hmm.
He just recently found out that was a remake.
Oh, really?
But I love it when they do remake movies and they use like the main character, like Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
And the new one.
Yeah.
I like it when they kind of tie those in.
Yeah.
Little Easter eggs, I guess.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, dude.
How the hell did we get here? What are we talking about?
This is why we can't keep this 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's totally impossible at this point.
Just to kind of give the folks out there a little bit of the weirdness and strangeness, I thought of just something we could kind of throw out. We've talked about just weird things in this area, strange things in this area. And our friend Daryl sent me a link to a YouTube video. And it's funny, he said, I haven't watched this yet, but I'm just going to leave this here. So he's like, you might be interested. So I watched it, and it's a channel on YouTube called Sasquatch Theory, which I'd seen some of this guy's videos before. And they're really cool because he's not focused on one area of the country, but what he does is he will find cases and sightings, and he will actually get in touch with the people that witnessed or thought they saw something and interview them. And so you have this recorded interview and you hear the story straight from those people, which is really neat. A lot of channels out there, you get something narrated, which is fine. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people do it really well. But this guy will contact people and get their permission to record it and put it on the channel, and it's really neat. And the one that Daryl sent me a link to, it's not his most recent one on Sasquatch Theory, but it is a recent one, and it's a guy talking about sightings near Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay.
Which is just down the road. It's about 10 minutes from us. And this guy, his stories take place in the 70s, but he lived in Wyman, which is just east of Fayetteville. It's basically between, I think, Fayetteville and Elkins. And the thing that, and it's really cool to hear this guy tell his stories, things he saw or heard, and things his family talked about seeing. Like the sighting that he had was out of a window in his house, and it was something looking in the window, and it had red eyes, and he said, he's 6 foot, and when he stands outside, he has to really strain and get on his tiptoes to see in the window at all, and this thing was just standing there looking in the window, so it had to have been pretty tall. Unless it carries like a little step stool around.
Oh, it could.
It could. You got to be prepared.
What if Bigfoot's a little people? They're on stilts. Homemade stilts.
You just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we need to explore that theory a little bit.
They could be little Ewok-looking dudes on stilts.
Yeah. Okay, that's something we may need to pursue. That's going to change the whole Bigfoot research game. In fact, I think tomorrow I'm taking the day off to call the BFRO and different agencies.
Let's do it.
Lauren Coleman, Jeff Meldrum. I'm calling them all. We need to look into this theory.
That's how they hide, because they can fit in little holes.
Yeah. They basically compact themselves and scurry off.
We're not looking for Bigfoot. We're looking for Littlefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this guy, what's interesting and what really caught my attention, and there's a reason why it caught my attention. A lot of people would probably just go, okay, whatever. But this guy talked about seeing something looking tall looking in through a window. He's always just assumed it was Bigfoot. But the guy interviewing him asked him about anything else that was strange that he could recall. And the guy's like, well, I had some weird dreams off and on that had dogmen in it. And he was talking about these dreams he had where a dogman would show up. And we've mentioned dogman here and in the other podcast with the other guys, which hasn't seen the light of day yet, but will.
Working on it.
Yeah. But dogman is a cryptid that, is like Bigfoot. It's just more of a werewolf type creature from what people describe. And it struck me as odd that he had multiple dreams about a dog man, both in his house and on the property. And so, they were dreams. And he said, they're just dreams. It's weird. And he kind of blew it off. And I think a lot of people would blow it off. But if you look on a map and you look at Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you go due east, you'll see Wyman. And then you'll see Elkins. And you'll also see Huntsville. And Huntsville is where, in the other podcast, we discussed there was a dogman sighting, multiple dogman sightings in the late 90s. So I thought that was kind of interesting that this guy's having dreams about something that people did think they saw in a nearby area. I mean, that whole span of area is if you're traveling in a car, it's about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So, it's just kind of odd.
See, and I wonder if these people, when they saw these sightings, like say I saw one night. Of course, it scared the hell out of you. Mm-hmm. But the next day in the day, did they go out and try to find footprints, like anything? Or did they chalk up like, don't want to mess with it, or...
It's odd. I'm sure there are some people that do. In most of the sightings I've heard about for both Bigfoot and Dogman, people that see something and know that it sees them talk about an intense, overwhelming, irrational fear that comes over them.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, it seems like it's more than just the normal fear you would see or feel from seeing a large predator like that. In fact, I believe some Native American tribes in Oklahoma say that there's an ability that Bigfoot or Sasquatch has to induce fear in people. And maybe it's a pheromone they give off or something that just clicks with your brain in a primal way, and you're like, not going any further, not coming back. But that seems to be a common thread in a lot of sightings. And that was that particular sighting in the Huntsville area. There were people that witnessed it multiple times over a span of years in this one location when they would drive by. And one particular sighting, the father of the family was driving, and he said it seemed like it wanted us to see it and like it wanted us to be afraid. That's just the impression he got.
There's a lot of people have guns.
Yeah.
And you see something like that in your window, why isn't anybody shooting yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, people...
I know what the law is. Would that invite him in the house? Does he have to get in the house before I can start blasting? Or
No.
But it's just like, I would think I would go get the shotgun.
Yeah. Well, there are stories of people shooting at these things and people saying they hit them, There's a rare handful of stories of people that claim to have killed one.
If I put 2 slugs in something like that and it doesn't die...
Yeah.
You won. Get me me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Unless we're hitting the stilts and not the body.
Yeah. Well,
we need headshots.
The majority of sightings like that, unfortunately, happen at night. So, people think they hit it. But
have you found any sightings in the past 20 years here? You know, because like when I do research on it, it's like you don't really hear of anything in
Yeah.
the 2000s at all.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, why is it all from 2000
Yeah.
before?
I think if I had to guess, I would say there have been. And I can't recall any off the top of my head, but I would have to do some digging. But if I were to guess, um, you know how we've talked before about technology and the government and military, how they're at least 15 to 20 years ahead of what we see, and then over time that trickles down to us. Things like the internet,
Right.
you know. You get people who see something, and especially from the I would say from the 60s, 50s, 60s on, for the longest time, they'd be afraid of ridicule. You know, people making fun of them, calling them
True.
crazy, calling them drunks or whatever. So they would keep that to themselves. I mean, there are people that have talked about sightings and have said that their own family ridiculed them and told them they were crazy.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. So I
Which
think we
would be,
don't.
because I got family
Yeah.
members that'd be like,
Yeah, yeah,
bullying me afterwards.
Yeah, I'm surprised none of them have left comments on this stuff. You know, alone.
They will now.
Yeah,
They will now.
You're a bunch of idiots. But yeah, I think part of it might be, you know, I'm not telling anybody about this. Part of it is, from what I've read, a lot of people that experience these things or see things like this and can't really wrap their heads around it. It kind of shatters their view of things, you know. These are, a lot of them are seasoned hunters and campers, and some of them are even survivalists. And they go out into these remote areas for fun, and then they see something that makes them never want to go back.
Right.
And it really scares them. It messes with their heads. And you know, you add to that the stigma of talking about it and people thinking you're nuts or giving you a hard time about it. I think there's a little bit less of that now than there used to be, because people are more and more open to weird things now.
Oh man, the most people are ready for a lot of this. You know, there's these vloggers that we follow, Kelly and Cody, and they have one of those campers on the back of the truck, and they go to remote places here locally in Arkansas, just places that you just, it's not campgrounds. They just tuck in the woods.
Yeah.
And camp. And watching them, I've often thought, it's like, I wonder if they've ever seen anything or heard anything and don't want to say nothing because don't want to go public with it. And
yeah, could be.
if I'm ever camping around the lake or see something weird, I'll tell you guys.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I don't care what everybody thinks of me, so I'm just gonna just say it. But no, I just wish there was more sightings around here in modern times.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that witness things like that, you know, you hear several stories. Anything with a cryptid sighting or high strangeness, like a UFO sighting or witness to some kind of experimental thing going on. A lot of people won't say anything until they're closer to the end of their lives, because they figure, I've got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
No one's going to hurt me, you know. And there was that story, that Dogman story that I told you about, that, if I recall correctly, took place in the state of Arkansas, where a guy and his father and a couple of friends of theirs were hunting, and they ran into this thing, and it attacked them. And it not only attacked them, it removed one of his father's arms, and they had to airlift him out of there, and they killed it. They ended up killing this thing, but you know, people from the government showed up.
The Men in Black came and took care of that situation.
It may as well have
quick.
been, yeah. But
Right.
People who claim to be from a government agency showed up,
And that brings a whole other aspect of not
Yeah.
wanting to talk about it too.
yeah,
Because if the government gets involved, you don't want to I don't want to be in that situation because
Yeah.
your life is going to be in their hands.
Yeah. We're and you know, with the technology that we have in our pockets and in our televisions now, we're already paranoid about being watched
Right.
now more than ever. But you start having people knock on your door, you know you're being watched. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, that was the same kind of situation here. While his father was clinging to life and kind of recuperating in the hospital nearby, these agents, and I can't remember what agency they were supposed to be from, but they said, take us to where you killed it. And they went out there and basically they said, this didn't happen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nope, you didn't. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's gone now. This never happened.
Yep.
And they basically said, you can either, keep your mouth shut and we'll give you X amount of money and to do so, or, there's going to be problems for you guys. And so they his father was like, I lost my arm to this thing, but they eventually decided to just take the money. And they took the money, and the guy eventually revealed the story of what happened after his father had passed away. So he held it, he kept it, and waited for many, many years. So, there's situations like that too. So honestly, I don't know of recent sightings.
Right.
But if you do look, every now and then something will pop up. Even in a YouTube video here and there, you'll hear about something that happened in 2012. And it's like, well, why didn't I hear about it back then?
Back then, yeah.
But, people see something like that and either they're scared or they're worried about what other people will think, and they just sit on it for a while, and then eventually they say, I saw something like that once, and then it comes out.
Well, I'll blab about it up until the government shows up at my door, and that shit is sealed.
Yeah.
This podcast will be over. We'll be done.
I don't know about that. I think I think anyone watching this knows we're nutcases, so they probably won't care. They probably won't care. We could say anything.
The government got my history on my phone. And like, don't worry about that guy.
This guy, we're not going to intimidate this guy. He's got bigger problems. This guy doesn't know his left from right.
That's
this guy, he's not a threat. He's going to talk about where he saw something, and people are going to end up in Delaware.
That's it.
We don't need to worry about this guy at all.
Shit. That's all right. I'll take it. Yeah.
Hey,
the thing is, that's not the first, and it won't be the last time I do that.
We get out there and start doing more field investigations like we want to, then at least we know we're safe from the government.
It's on the right and left thing. When we were in California, my Uncle Mark was doing all the driving when he was with us. And I'm navigating through areas, and I get flustered easily, and I screw up. So I'd be like, kind of the same thing, go right, I mean left. So I started pointing, it's like, just go that way. And he's like, which way? There's like 3 options. I'm like, that way. He was getting frustrated with me. I'm like, navigate your damn self then, driver.
Did he make you give directions in the voice of Alexa?
No.
Okay, well that's good.
No, but no.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
So, yeah. So I'm curious if any of you guys have ever heard of a sighting.
Yeah.
Anywhere where you live, where you're watching this, if you have, let us know, and especially if it's something online, we'd like to dig into it.
Yeah, and especially if you're in the state of Arkansas or in Northwest Arkansas, we definitely love to hear
or Missouri, Oklahoma.
Yeah, anywhere in this region.
Or Louisiana.
Yeah.
There's some crazy shit going on in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Bigfoot exists down there. He's afraid.
All right. Well, luckily we were kind of coming to a close because the battery got too hot. So
I don't understand. That happened. It's never happened before. It happened last week and happened this week.
Yeah.
The battery gets hot and it heats up the camera. So
But basically, we were saying if anyone out there has any stories, even anecdotal stories passed down amongst family or friends in this region, uh, put a comment. Let us know. We'll reach back out and find a way to get in touch and talk about these things. Maybe even go out and investigate if it's somewhere nearby that
Local,
we can reach. Yeah. I know. I've seen things. I've seen things in the sky that I couldn't explain. I can't say it was a craft. There could be an explanation for it. I've heard things when I lived in Central Arkansas. I've heard things late at night that I couldn't figure out what it was. So, we didn't really touch on it, but paranormal wise as well, ghost stories.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anything like that.
I love the paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
I do have one thing I want to throw out there
Okay.
in the YouTube world. It's kind of a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to work at a restaurant in Venice, California, back in it was either late 60s, early 70s, somewhere around there. And the name of the place was called the Home of the Big Omelet. It actually has ties to the Manson family. My dad used to serve the Manson girls breakfast every now and then.
Wow.
Before he knew
Yeah, sure.
who they were. Once it came out who they were, it's like, oh. But anyways, it's a restaurant in Venice, California. It was where the boardwalk is now. Back then, you didn't have the boardwalk with all the shows and stuff. But it was called the Home of the Big Omelet. And I've researched this as hard as I can to find a picture or something related to this place. I don't know how long it's been in business. I don't think it was very long.
Yeah.
But if anybody out there has Columbo-like research skills,
There you go. I'm sure all of you know who Columbo was. Good Lord, we show our age too much. Yeah. You remember Columbo, the detective on the talkie box.
didn't even think about the boy. Jesus.
Detective skills. Sleuthing.
If you're good at research, if anybody out there can help me locate a photo that has the logo on the building or anything,
Yeah.
or anybody that's even worked there,
Yeah.
I'm going to press for this every other vlog, I think.
You might even be aware of a Facebook page. Like I know I follow a Facebook page called Remember When, and it's specifically about Little Rock and North Little Rock.
Right.
And it's really neat to look in there and see a lot of places I used to see as a kid. And it goes back even to the 50s and before. So
I've got on some of those.
Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook now because Area 51 took me off.
yeah.
But when I was on Facebook,
Yeah.
I joined so many of those groups and
Yeah.
stuff, and I was asking people, but it's like,
Yeah.
and then when you research online, it brings up new breakfast places. Because I think this
Okay.
place was
Yeah.
only like breakfast, lunch, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah. And I guess, since you kind of slipped into this tangent about Facebook, we should let the people know we're about to launch a new venture. It's called Mike Book. Mike is the only one that has a page on it. You can join and you can watch. You can even leave comments and participate. But Mike is the only one that has a page on it because no one else will have him.
Instagram is the last of the line for me.
Yeah.
Facebook just can't.
They're a
handle
little
it.
slow to catch up. They'll catch wind of what's been going on with you.
But it's owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where keep your friends close, keep your enemies close.
Yeah.
It's like we got to give this one
Yeah.
little thing.
There's some executives in a boardroom somewhere. Allow him to remain on Instagram. We will monitor his Instagram for the time being.
I'm sure if I put in a good few years of behaving myself, they'll let me have a Facebook again.
Yeah, you'll get some cryptic messages here and there. Are you enjoying Instagram?
Facebook. I hate Facebook. These last two times, I didn't even do anything wrong.
Well,
Or so they say.
well,
So they say.
That you'll
Or that's
admit.
what I say.
yeah, that you'll admit to.
That, man, even that last time, I behaved myself. Yep. For all of you that's been in Facebook jail, if you go enough, they execute your page.
Yeah.
They take it away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what happens when I leave comments for my own amusement.
Yeah. I think once you're kicked off Instagram, you lose U.S. citizenship. So that's next.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'll be. My Instagram's fairly boring. It's just family photos.
Yeah.
I don't make. That's all I'm gonna talk about it. I want to go home. So, anyways, yeah. If anybody can research good, I'm gonna bring this up at the end of several other videos too.
Yeah.
Just to keep it out there because it links my father, and he's deceased now, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can ask him. He's just quiet these days.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Pardon the battery mishap. It's probably gonna happen next week too. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see if we can't work out the issues, technical difficulties.
So appreciate it. Like, comment, leave comments.
Comment like crazy.
Yep. And
Spread the word.
spread the word. Yeah, spread the word of this channel. We want to get this blown up.
Yeah. Tell your friends, and if you hate what we do, tell your enemies.
That's true. As a matter of fact, just take your friend's phone and post it on their Facebook page. They'll leave you. The Facebook will leave you alone, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Be positive. Find something positive every day. We got another work week ahead of us, so be positive. Don't let all the small stuff bother you and get you all flustered and pissed off. Next week, we'll teach you between right and left.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Later, guys.